Good morning, everyone, and happy weekend to you. Welcome to my Saturday live stream. You guys know the routine at this point. I do 1 week where it's by myself, just blabbing on and on about my movie and TV news stories and reviews, and then we get the opportunity to have a guest on the show. And I put it to the Patreon community the other day, and I asked them who they want on the show, and they gave me an answer that I was very excited about because I've known this guy for a couple of years now. And like, I have a general sense of how into movies he is and how into creating stuff he is, but I don't know. I wanted the opportunity to get to know RB3 a little better. Hey man, how you doing?
Hey Perry, thank you so much for having me. We've known each other for a long time, so I'm super happy to just like sit and talk with you.
Isn't it weird how long we've known each other, though? I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day, probably because I'm getting all sentimental about LA. I mean, I feel like it's got to be probably 4 years at this point.
Yeah, I think it is about 4 years because I think I started working for Schmoes in 2016. Yeah, about April 2016. So yeah.
And that's literally the exact time I moved to LA. I flew to LA on April 8th, 2016.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
So you already know what I want to do today on the show because like I know what you've done for Schmoes, and I've heard you talk so passionately about all the movies that you review, the interviews that you do, your podcast with Ace and all that good stuff. And I also know you are a graduate of film school. So I kind of wanted to, I don't know, get a sense of where it all started for you. It's like when I think about the movie that turned me from, a fan of movies to a movie lover who really appreciates the making of the movies and movie magic, I always go to Jurassic Park. So what's your Jurassic Park?
My Jurassic Park is funny enough, and I know people really don't really like this movie that much, but it's James Cameron's Avatar. Like I remember seeing that when I was, and it came out in 2010, so I was about 12 or 13 years old, and that one really moved me in like a lot of ways. And what really moved me about it is because for a lot of my early life, I was for when I was like a real little kid, I loved movies, I loved cinema, and I kind of wanted to be like an actor, like an on-screen kind of thing. And then I ultimately ended up not doing that, and we ended up revising our career path until my family and we revised my career path towards like engineering because I was always really good at math and science. So I went to Magnolia Science Academy for middle school, which is local here in where I'm at in Compton, California, is right next door in Carson. And then I went for high school. I went to California Academy of Math and Science, which is in Carson, California, which is also next door. And it's funny enough, Doreena's husband actually went to camps as well. So we have that little shared connection. But yeah, it's I was really heavy into math and science. I used to compete in like national and international like science competitions. Like I went to Istanbul, Turkey when I was in 8th grade for an international science competition. So, and then and funny enough with that, we weren't even able to like afford like the plane tickets or anything like that because we're just local kids from like Compton, Carson, Gardena, all that kind of stuff. So I ended up writing a letter to like Turkish Airlines and being like, hey, can you help us out like with tickets? And then they totally hooked us up. So that was always been like my career. That's always like for middle school and high school is all engineering, all math and science. And I was president of our high school club for National Society of Black Engineers. So every year we would go to like the conferences and compete in like the competitions there, and then get like all these engineering, all that kind of stuff connections. So we but by the end of it, I ended up going to film school, and pretty much all through high school, I wanted to go to film school. But I also was exercising like the math and science side of me. So I guess going back to Avatar, the reason I kind of loved Avatar was because to me, it was like the perfect blend of like, the cinema, the art, like the magic of movies mixed with the technology, the engineering, the math, the science. And it just kind of, and I've always been a very environmentally active person too. Like the science competitions that we competed in middle school were all like environmental competitions. So the big project that we made was during the time of like the BP oil spill when, that whole thing happened. And our experiment was basically like, can we separate water from oil in a safe humanitarian type of way? So we had built like this big tub of like water and oil, and it had like these transparent like balls that soaked up from like a certain kind of density. So yeah, long story short, I used to love math and science, but I'm full on movies now. So
Oh my God, I have so many follow-up questions for you. First, so do you know like comp sci and coding and those languages?
I did briefly, like
Okay.
during when I first started high school, eighth grade. I'm sorry, ninth grade and 10th grade. I was heavy into like C++. I was heavy into Java and all that kind of stuff. But now I'm not that familiar with it, honestly.
It's hard. I took in because I tried to be a comp sci minor in college, and I took Intro to Java, and I was really good at that. It felt like very basic, like
Mm,
almost puzzles to solve. And then when I got to regular Java and C++, it's just like my brain didn't compute that, and I
mm.
just flat out. It didn't matter how hard I tried, I couldn't do it.
No, I honestly, that's kind of one of the trickier, like the more usable, I guess the coding language is, the more difficult I feel like it becomes. Like I guess for me, like I first got introduced to like coding when I was like in eighth grade in middle school. I used to just kind of mess around with it, but yeah, to me, like computer science language is just like way, or computer language, all that stuff is just way too hard for me. I salute my friends because a lot of my friends from high school are now like successful computer engineers and scientists. One of my buddies is actually a computer engineer at Disney right now. So
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah. So it's
Something
awesome.
else. All
Yeah.
right, we got a super chat here from PC. Big fan, Perry. I love your sweetness. And hey, RB3. I appreciate that, PC. I'm glad you're enjoying the vibe on the channel. That's exactly what I'm going for. Okay, more questions for you. So you were on the math and science track.
Mhm.
What was it that made you switch gears and think that film was going to be your career, and what kind of conversations did you have with your parents about that? 'Cause were they encouraging you at that time to go the other route?
Yeah. So I had always loved movies, like I said, but Avatar was really a movie that was one of the ones that kind of made that big turn for me.
Mhm.
And then after that, I went from Avatar to The Social Network in 2010. So then that was, even though Avatar was like a big budget, like sci-fi movie, I really didn't think of it. I didn't really, I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I knew that wasn't like realistic for like a young filmmaker to kind of have his aspirations at. But it was really when I saw The Social Network, I was like, oh, so you could still make like a really deep, like powerful movie, but without all the CGI, without all of the spectacle and all that stuff. It just really, it could really come down to the storytelling and the writing and the editing and all that kind of stuff. So that's really where I ended up really loving. That was another big turn for me too. So from that point, and going to whether, well, okay, I'll say this, and then on top of Avatar, on top of the Social Network, a big part of my filmmaking journey, which really made me know that it was possible to pursue a career in film, was because I got to do a mentorship program through the Bill Duke Youth Media Foundation. Bill Duke is, obviously a Hollywood actor, director. He was in Predator. He's directed like a lot of movies. He's still in stuff today, and and he has a mentorship program where he takes like black and brown kids from hooded hood areas like Compton, Carson, all that kind of stuff, LA areas, and recruits them and allows them to and teaches them the arts of filmmaking, like all the components, from editing, from screenwriting, from pre-production, post-production. And then we had guests every week who had individual skills like in their own craft. And then at the end of the 12-week mentorship program, it was like every Saturday we met for 12 weeks. And then by the end of it, we ended up we got to make our own short film with them. So that taught me everything. That literally taught me how to edit. That literally taught me what final draft was and how to write. And then it taught me how to like shoot on a camera and all that kind of stuff. And then I guess since my brain has always been like more math and science oriented, the editing and the camera stuff just kind of made a little more sense to me. So that's where pretty much I've been like, kind of focusing my specialties at, because it's just something that I really started from early on. Now, when you talk about were my parents encouraging, they really wanted me to be on the engineering track. Like, they really encouraged that. And, you can understand why, job security, economic security, it makes a lot more sense. And, film's a little more risky and it's a little more uncertain. And really everybody, especially like the more you do it, the more you realize, oh, everybody in LA is trying to, yeah. So, but, I've never been one to like be scared by it, be shaken by a challenge. Like I said, like for pretty much every example of my life, there's always been a thing of like, oh, you can't do it. You can't, there's not the resources, you're not the means. And I've never really like shaken bat in the eye towards that. So that was just another example of that.
Good. Seriously, good for you. It's just, the thought of how difficult it is to make it in the industry, or even just like not even blow up, but just make a living, admittedly, it still keeps me awake at night sometimes. But then I always remind myself, I don't think I would ever be capable of doing something just to make a living. I'm a live to work type, not a work to live type. So it's like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you have to do no matter what.
No, absolutely. And then I think, I appreciate having the opportunity to work for stuff like Schmoes and all that kind of stuff, because it really gave me a different kind of exposure to the whole introduction to the industry kind of stuff. So,
and a community, like yet another community. I mean, that's probably one of the coolest things, is like, not only do you have like the Schmoes, a big group of movie lovers, but then you also get your classmates at school too. And man, USC, that is just, it's like, I feel like I should ask you, like, why'd you pick the USC program? But like, why wouldn't you pick that program?
Yeah, I mean, just being from here in LA, like, I've always like looked at USC, like always aspired to be at USC. The church I went to as a child was by USC. So I've always wanted to go to USC regardless if it was going to be for engineering, for business or for film. Like, I just always knew I wanted to go to USC. And then, thankfully, their film program is the top film program, in the world, at least according to Hollywood Reporter. But I don't want to slam NYU, because I do love NYU, of course. But yeah, I wanted to go to USC. I applied when I first got out of college. I'm sorry, when I first got out of high school, and I didn't get in at first. I went to CSUN, Cal State Northridge, for a year. And after doing a year at CSUN, I ended up reapplying to USC and transferring and getting into USC that way. And I do appreciate my year at CSUN. Like, that was a really great intro year for me, getting, kind of my feet wet in the university experience. But ultimately, I knew USC is where I wanted to go. So, yeah, I ended up doing that. So
you get into that film program, and I am wondering, so when you get in, like, you're picturing a dream career path for yourself. How did that version of your dream career change after you experienced like a full course load of work and graduated?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing for me is, like, I have like an overarching plan. Like, I have a long-term plan, but I've never really been the person to like plan out like what's going to happen like tomorrow, or what's going to happen, what's going to happen, for me, in the next, 6 months or something like that. Obviously you have goals, but, that for me, like, honestly, I've realigned my goals a lot too. Like, I think when I first got into college, I thought, oh, like, I just want to do just filmmaking, and I want to be like a director, and I want to, be doing all of these like short films and starting to write features and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff I'm still actively doing. But over the course of film school, I really ended up, and my major was cinema and media studies at USC. So that's, it's the study of like film theory. It's the study of cinema, like classic film, foreign film, all that kind of stuff. So during my time at USC, I realized, oh, I love the watching of the movies and the criticism of the movies and the talking of the movies just as much as I do the making of them. So so my career kind of ended up shifting a little bit from just being strictly the guy who wants to be a filmmaker and be making features to I want to do that as well as get to talk movies and enjoy movies and celebrate movies and hopefully with First Cut create a culture of and a community that's positive and very receptive towards all kinds of film and all kinds of diversity and all kinds of international cinema and stuff like that.
I love that mentality so much. I did journalism undergrad, and then I started doing the criticism stuff. And I don't know, like I felt bad critiquing other people's work without trying it myself. And that's when I went to film school. And like during film school, I had a very similar mentality where there was like this push pull between like, I have to decide, do I want to be a movie producer for the rest of my life or a movie critic for the rest of my life? And, the truth of the matter is you can kind of do both.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. And I think, having split focus kind of slows, certain things down from one end to another end. And I totally see that. But I personally have been trying to overcome that. Personally, been trying to just work twice as hard, to make sure I could grow, my channel and my platform, as well as, do short films. Like we've been working on Timestamp for like the longest time. And we're finally like starting to wrap that up now. So yeah, it's a struggle, it's a push and pull, but we're really, I'm really hoping to just, keep pushing and keep moving and advancing.
I 100% believe you're going to keep doing that. We have some more super chats from PC. Hit that like button. Thanks. I agree with PC. Please hit that like button and share. Which church on Adams? I believe that's something you just brought up.
Oh, yeah. The church that I went to was West Angeles Church of God in Christ in Los Angeles. It's not on Adams. It's on Crenshaw, but it's in the South LA area.
I love how I'm not I know where that is. I legit know nothing about LA geography, nothing at all. I've lived there for 4 years, and I think it's because we've come to be so dependent on the GPS. It's like even when I'm going a very short distance, I still put the address in the GPS so I know the fastest possible route to avoid traffic. So by memory, I know how to get nowhere except route.
Well, it's funny because I feel like you have to use the GPS just to avoid traffic in LA, like in general. We literally, I feel like LA, if you just want to drive 3 miles, but if you get caught and it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, it's like a mission. So
it is. Yeah, it is the worst. I think the worst GPS situation I've ever been in though is, I was doing that miserable 6 p.m. commute back to Burbank from a screening, and it was just the worst possible time. And my GPS tried to divert me around the traffic, but the route it gave me took me through like a private gated area.
What?
So I went all the way up a hill just to get to a gate that I wasn't allowed to go through, and then had to go all the way back down and drive really far away from that street in order for the GPS to find me a new route.
What? See, that's the downfall of like these GPS services. They really gotta, get a better understanding.
That.
Yeah. Honestly, that's really sad.
So what have you been watching lately? Has anything, crossed your path that kind of really inspired you, like Avatar and Social Network?
Yeah, I mean, I find inspiration in everything. Even the stuff that I don't like, I still find a little inspiration from. One of the ones that I watched super recently that I ended up really being inspired by, frankly enough, and I know it's kind of played out. I know it's I'm kind of real super late to the party, but Hamilton, I've been loving Hamilton.
Is this the first time you've seen it when it hit Disney Plus?
This first time I've seen it, first time I heard any songs, first time I consumed it in any kind of fashion. So
I'm the same way. I couldn't get my hands on tickets when it was I was living in New York too when it was on Broadway and everyone was talking about it. Everyone was going. I couldn't get tickets. And So I got a little, pissed about it. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to let myself listen to the music until I could see it in full. So I've never heard a stitch of music from Hamilton until it hit Disney Plus. And that whole, everything about it just blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel like I feel like, everybody talks about like the aesthetic of it and like the rapping and the dancing and all that stuff. But to me, like the story is like literally just the story itself is just like incredibly moving. Like, and the whole like conflict between, Aaron Burr and Hamilton, like the difference in ideology, like it just, to me, it's like so deep and profound. Like, and it coats it all in like this really poppy kind of rappy songs and Broadway songs. But I think when you strip all that away, it's still saying something really, really deep and powerful too. So
yeah, I think one of my biggest takeaways from seeing Hamilton for the first time was realizing that Aaron Burr had such a big role in the show. And, not just like the surface level depiction that you get in history textbooks. It like really let you understand his mind frame and why he chose to do certain things and operate certain ways. And oh my God, Leslie Odom Jr. is incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's so good. And I know, like, I really didn't, again, I knew of Hamilton, like everybody knows of Hamilton, but like I didn't know how much of an impact like the cast ultimately ended up having, like after Hamilton. It's kind of funny, like watching this now and being like kind of my mind being blown by it now. But like we've seen like Lin-Manuel Miranda have like all of these Disney movies, and we've seen Daveed Diggs have movies, and Leslie Odom Jr. be in movies. But like, you didn't, like, you never really, like, I never really knew that this is where like people saw them, and that's why they became so big. Like, I could totally understand it. Like, I just love this. I'm loving it.
I have to ask you the impossible question now. Who is your favorite character in Hamilton?
Who's my favorite character? I mean, I feel like saying the king would be too generic. But
it's so good.
Yeah. And he's another one. I'm like, yo, he's in Mindhunter, and then he's doing this. That was amazing to me. Yeah, but he's one of my favorites. But I gotta say, Daveed Diggs' Thomas Jefferson was also like super, super entertaining too.
Daveed Diggs is so good. I think I still have to go Leslie Odom Jr. as Aaron Burr. I was just so surprised by him, and he has such like a unique standout energy. It's like every single time he is on stage singing, it's like everything else melts away. And I really do think that he commands your attention more than anyone. And that's not to say that the other performances aren't good. They most certainly are. It's just the fact that he manages like to draw your eye and ear, even when so much other talent is on the stage with him. That is really something else.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely amazing. And I know he won the Tony over Lin-Manuel Miranda, like went for like best actor or whatever. And it's funny because when you look at it just on your phone, it's like, oh, that's funny. They gave it to the other guy. When you watch it, you're like, oh, I totally get it. Like this he totally does a great job as that.
We got a super sticker.
Hey,
Caleb, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day. We've got some fantasy football to talk about soon. Are you into fantasy football?
Honestly, no, I'm not. I haven't been. I'm not the biggest fantasy football guy. I don't know if I have enough knowledge, like on every player to compete.
I feel like you could get there. I said the same thing 2 years ago, and now I'm absolutely obsessed. I don't know if we're going to get a traditional football season this year, but the plan is that I'm going to add a tier to my Patreon campaign, and we're going to create like a Patreon league. And Caleb is kind of like the one in the group who has the most know-how, so he's going to help me fill out all the rules. Because I would rely on like Cody. Cody was the manager of the Collider League, so anything I know of managing a fantasy football league comes from what he did over there.
Yeah. Cody is like literally, for one, he's one of the smartest dudes ever, and then for two, like I've never met somebody who's more passionate about both football and Lakers basketball. I mean, me and Cody used to love talking about the Lakers together. Like,
okay, so basketball's more your sport.
Basketball, yeah. I probably watch basketball the most out of any sport for sure.
I went through a phase where I was watching a lot of basketball, but being a New Yorker, that meant the Knicks were my team, and we had a lot of bad seasons. I think that some of the sports that I watch most is dictated by the fact that New York teams too often just suck. But it's also because it's like, as a kid, I picked the Mets over the Yankees, and the Mets just, oh my God, they broke my heart over and over and over again. So I stopped paying attention to baseball.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I feel like the calling card for New York is the baseball, and maybe the Giants too. I think the Giants too. They're not like the biggest winners, but they win.
I will say the year that the Giants went to the Super Bowl, that was a very, very fun year to be. I think because I was still in college at the time, and it was a very fun time to be in Manhattan.
Yeah. No, that's sick. Just from being, same thing for me though, like LA, we've been fortunate. I've been blessed to be in LA and have, the greatest basketball team of all time here with the Lakers. So I've been able to just be a happy, proud fan of the Lakers for my life. It's been tough. There's been stretches where it's been tough, but I'm still always a Laker for life. And then on the baseball side, I've always loved Dodgers too. I love going to Dodger games. Like, that's one of my favorite. Even though, like, I don't really love watching baseball on TV, going to the actual stadium is so much fun to me. So
nothing makes me happier than going to like a baseball game and having a beer.
Yeah. And the hot dogs too, like the giant Dodger dogs. So good.
I feel like now is the time when I am seriously regretting not going to enough live sports and concerts too. And, the second things get semi back to normal or the new normal, I feel like I'm going to prioritize a lot more outings like that because I don't know. It's just like whenever I plan a big day like that, I'm all excited about it. But then the day comes and I'm like, well, I'd rather just sit on my couch and watch from the comfort of my own home with Dewey and my food and all that. But when we get back to it, I'm going to some Dodger games. I'm going to go to some more concerts. I got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, I'm definitely going to take advantage of all of that too. Like, I've been craving to see something live, like a concert or anything live that's like outside of my phone or my computer. I'm just craving for it. But I gotta tell you, I miss the movies too, and I know you miss the movies.
So much.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see it, being pushed and delayed, and I don't know how safe it's gonna be till I'm ready to go back yet or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as we're in a place that is comfortable to go back, I'm excited to go back.
I'm going to err on the side of caution until I feel confident in going back, but I'm definitely itching to see a movie on the big screen, even though I would say the content that we have gotten in the past couple of months, it's held me over quite well.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been watching a lot more series than I usually do. Usually my focus is like movies and only movies, but I've been watching a lot of shows lately, and I feel like there's been a couple things. It's like a lot of people on my channel know it's Pose, Sex Education, and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I feel like those are the shows that have just like given me the life I need right now.
Yeah. No, I those are great shows. I literally, I just been going on the show Bender like myself. I just finished. I mean, probably in the last week, I probably finished about 4 shows, if I'm being honest.
What have you been watching?
Literally just finished Umbrella Academy. The first season. Yeah, ready for season 2. It's really, really great. I'm excited for. I just saw that Paul Rudd show, Living with Yourself, on Netflix. Yeah. It's actually a really sweet show. Like 8 episodes, 25 minutes. That's like perfect for me. And it's kind of sad and dramatic too. And then one of the funnest things I've ever done is watching Harley Quinn on DC Universe.
Man, I've been hearing the best stuff about that show. I really got to make time for it.
No, that is a gem, and I'm so upset that it's not anywhere except for DC Universe, frankly. But like it is a pitch perfect show, like in terms of comedy. Like, it's R-rated, it's funny, like it's just good all around.
I need some of that. What about in the movie sphere? What's really popped for you in the last couple of months? Or actually, I'm going to backtrack a little. What is your favorite movie of the year so far?
Favorite movie of the year? Okay, so I'm taking Hamilton out because it's not a movie. It is a movie, but it's not a movie in our traditional sense.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to take the Last Dance out because that's a TV series that I really love, and it's a documentary series, but again, it's not a movie. And then I'll probably say my number 1 is probably The Five Bloods right now. yeah, The Five Bloods is probably my favorite of the year so far. And yeah, Spike Lee did an amazing job with and I'm forgetting the lead actor's name like off the top of my head, but I think Lando.
Delroy Lindo.
Delroy Lindo, yes. Oh, his performance is
good.
Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling.
See, the performances and just that movie overall, it kind of does make me wish that, and I know the ship has sailed, it's not happening, that the Academy would just stick to its standard schedule.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the Academy Awards representing, like, functioning as a time capsule and really representing what we were going through at the time and representing what movies made a big difference for us in this period of time too. And if we could see The Five Bloods dominate for that reason, like, I think that would just be a very special thing to be able to look back and remember. But, you know, instead they're pushing to April, they're increasing the window, and, you know, I get the drive to do that, but still, I want it to be my way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I do like, I hope the Academy extending their deadlines and everything gives opportunity for, I guess, more independent movies to come up to prominence. Even though The Five Bloods is not necessarily indie, I think now more than ever is a chance to celebrate all of the VOD movies, all of the streaming movies, because, you know, it's usually like 1 or 2 slots every year that they kind of get, you know, but I think now is a good time to just start celebrating them and start celebrating the kind of unique cinema that's being presented on those platforms.
Yeah, definitely, like, giving indie films a chance to shine, and also just like genres that usually don't get the love. It's like, I genuinely think that Elizabeth Moss deserves a nomination for what she did in The Invisible Man, but because it's, you know, billed as a horror movie, it's less likely that she'll go the distance and actually get it. But, you know, given the crop of films we've been able to see this year, you would think she would have a real shot. But again, increasing the window, I don't know if it's going to happen.
Right. But, you know, unfortunately, too, I think increasing the window, I don't know how much it's going to help. Because I think a lot of the movies that are slated to come out now in August and, you know, September and October are probably going to have to move a little bit too.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I have a bad feeling that's going to happen. It's like, as excited as I am that Candyman is still in the 2020 sphere, it's just
right.
And to move.
Yeah, I'm really hoping. I was so looking forward to Candyman. I'm such a big fan of Nia DaCosta.
Yes.
You know, in her last film, and I was looking forward to this. But I hope, you know, it's safe, it's comfortable to go back to the theaters, or if they want to put it on premium VOD, I'd be more happy to consume it that way too.
I want them to release, you know, especially companies like Universal, the ones that I guess have had a little more success with the PVOD strategy. I want them to release more, you know, more numbers and more data. But as I say that, like, part of the problem with PVOD and comparing it to traditional box office numbers is we don't know how PVOD is going to affect ancillary, and I can never say that word, the other markets that they eventually rely on to make money, like DVD and Blu-ray releases. So I don't know, looking back when we're like, let's say a year or two out and seeing how the trends compare, that's going to be a really interesting thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I've been a proponent of this for quite some time now on both, you know, SCN and on anywhere that gives me a platform. I do think drive-ins shouldn't be a dead market. I think especially now, to me, drive-ins are kind of the perfect compromise for social distancing and still getting that, like, big screen experience, like the feeling of watching a movie, you know, on the big screen. So I really, again, I've been going to drive-ins. I've been watching, you know, there's been like horror movies I've been playing there. I've been watching, I actually watched a great indie movie called Miss Juneteenth at the drive-in.
That was a Sundancer this year.
Yeah, it was. And salute to the director who directed, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was actually a USC graduate as well. So yeah, it was really nice getting to support a movie, you know, outside of just renting it on my at home and watching on my TV. I got to see it on a big screen.
I wish there were more. I think the LA area has more drive-in movie theaters than where I am on Long Island, because there's nothing in a reasonable driving distance here. But the other thing that I was thinking about is like it's also difficult to curate movies for the drive-in experience, because I heard a bunch of people who saw Relic, which I absolutely love, at the drive-in, saying it wasn't the best movie to project that way because, you know, like it's a very dark movie and apparently they couldn't see the details, and like that director has like such an extreme attention to detail. It's so unfortunate. So like I guess like drive-in can't be the answer to everything, but I just love that market is getting a little boost right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I heard something like Walmart is turning like 160 of their parking lots into drive-ins or something like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I got to track down a Walmart near me. So we got your Dodger dogs getting some shit here from PC. I'm sorry, the Dodger dogs are trash, but I'll give anything right now to be at a game, even at Dodger Stadium, and pay $18 for trash beer. Go Cubs!
Oh, PC, dang! I know PC's a LA native as well, so you know.
What is the food you miss the most?
Food I miss the most? Oh, with quarantine? Oh, that's a good one. Well, I fortunately like I have the best mom in the entire world, and for my birthday this year, she actually I love Chicago pizza, and you know it's tough because there's not really a lot of good Chicago pizza places in LA. Besides one that I really like in like Echo Park, but they've been closed because of quarantine. But my mom literally actually had Chicago pizza from Lou Montanelli's flown out for my birthday. So we ate it here. So
that makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it's literally so amazing. It's so awesome.
I feel like I didn't fully realize how bad the LA problem is with good pizza and bagels until I came home for such an extended period of time, because like I like Chicago pizza too, but like New York pizza is what I grew up on. It's like New York pizza and New York bagels. I don't think I'll ever, after all the bagels I've eaten during quarantine, I don't think I'll ever be able to eat an LA bagel again.
Yeah, no, when I went to New York last year in early January, that was my first time I ever been to New York in general. And I was only there for 2 days, so I didn't really get to experience a lot of it. But I'm happy I got to experience the pizza. And my biggest regret is not getting a bagel, because I hear nothing but about the best bagels in the world, and I missed out on that.
It's very true. I used to like, you know, take that a little lightly, but it's night and day. All right, we've got some super chats here from Edward Munoz, who says, thank you for all the videos. In this weird time, it really helps me pass the time. That is the goal, Edward. I'm so happy that is happening for you right now. And we have another here from the Prince that wasn't promised. Yeah, no drive-ins on Long Island. I'm over here in Western Suffolk. It's so strange to me because it just feels like there's so many places and like empty lots here where someone could start something up. And I know there's like the interest in doing it. There's a local pool near me, and they're like erecting, you know, like a pop-up one in their parking lot. And I think that's going to be the next one I go to. I know I just missed, they screened Die Hard, and I forget what the next one's going to be. I think it's Grease, which I like Grease. That wouldn't be my movie of choice for a first drive-in experience out here, but I'll probably go to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, weirdly enough, I think Grease can kind of work as a drive-in though, because it's, you know, the cars. It has cars, right? Like they fly off in the car.
It's got a drive-in scene in it, so I guess it does make a lot of sense.
There you go.
You know me though; I'd rather it be a horror movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So as we wind down right now, what is the upcoming movie, whether it's something that could get pushed back again or it's something coming to VOD soon, that you are most excited about?
It got to be Soul from Pixar. I've been looking forward to this movie since the day they announced it. I love Jamie Foxx just like as a performer. And two, I love Pixar. Like I've always been a huge Pixar fan. One of the many long-term goals of mine is to eventually like start a production company, hopefully. And you know, and kind of what I've always envisioned modeling myself after would be like the Pixar model of just like, you know, communication, creativity, like openness and all that kind of stuff. And I've read a lot of their books. I've read Creativity Inc. I actually had a Pixar class at USC. And that's what I love about USC. Like, we have so many like weird, like kind of fun classes that like when you say them to other people, they're like, what? That's a class? But like, you know, it kind of makes total sense when you're like in it. So yeah, Pixar was one of those classes. I had a Tarantino class that was super cool. Just had a lot of like fun kind of weird classes that allowed me to learn more about that. But going back to Soul, I love Pixar. I love Jamie Foxx. I love the idea of them having this black, you know, lead character in this. And frankly, and also Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the score for it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just super, super excited for it. I can't wait. I wish, and it was originally supposed to come out the weekend of my birthday. They pushed it back. So now it's in November, and I hope the November date stays, but you know, who knows?
I'm looking forward to that one too. What's your favorite Pixar movie?
Oh, that's tough. That's so tough. Okay, so I don't know. It's kind of weird to say like the Toy Story saga. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But if I had to, I guess if I had to go for like an individual movie, it would probably be maybe Inside Out. Yeah.
Yes, join the Inside Out team with me.
Yeah.
And I feel like the success that they had with Inside Out is giving me like all the faith in the world in Soul. Cause I remember when that idea for Inside Out was first revealed in like the news and stuff. I'm like, oh, like how are you going to make a compelling story about someone's emotions and make all this work? But like the fact that they made a really great story out of it, and a story that like, I don't know, it can help you visualize what you're experiencing in a new way. And it might make you understand your emotions better. I love that kind of stuff. And if they're going to dig into someone's soul in that kind of way with that movie, I don't know. I have a feeling I'm going to love it.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to have my mind blown. And honestly, I have all the faith in Pixar, even films that most Pixar fans don't necessarily love. And Pixar still love, like Onward. I loved Onward.
I loved Onward.
Yeah, Onward was so good. And for some reason, I've been seeing it catch a lot of flack lately online, but I think Onward is amazing.
I'm a big fan of that one. I feel like the only Pixar movies that I can strongly criticize are probably, you know, Cars 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like even when you compare those Cars movies to, you know, like the wide-ranging other animated movies we get, like some of the bottom of the barrel ones, it's still like at a certain level or above.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little goofy and it's a little silly, but I think at the end of the day, like it's still a heartwarming story. Yeah, so I actually ended up digging Cars 3. Like I didn't see until like very, very recently, like a couple months ago, but it wasn't that bad. Like Cars 2 is really the only like irredeemable one, I feel like.
Yeah, Cars 2 is a little rough. I feel like Pixar just has a habit of creating worlds that whether or not they are like, you know, like refined cinema, it's just I enjoy spending time in that world, and sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, that's all it comes down to, for sure.
RB3, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this wonderful Saturday. I really appreciate it. And it was so nice to get to, like, I feel like I could ask you a million more questions just about, you know, like your appreciation of filmmaking and like all your hopes and dreams and stuff, because I love having these conversations. And I feel like it's just been so exciting watching you ever since I first met you go through that program, and like you graduated last year, and I don't know, you just got so many wonderful things ahead of you. I'm thrilled.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. And I'm a big fan of you, obviously, Perri, and everything you've done over the years. And I really salute you and thank you for having me here.
I appreciate that. Before we say goodbye, we got one more super chat here from Ian. Ian's part of my Patreon team too.
Woo.
Perri and RB3, looking forward to watching The Old Guard and Relic this weekend. Watched Palm Springs last night, and I highly recommend. Guys, we got a good week of PVOD and VOD releases right now. All those movies are great. And also, if anyone out there has not watched State Lists on Netflix, it's a new series that dropped on Wednesday. Highly recommend that as well. Before we leave you, RB3, what social media outlets, what YouTube channels do you want to promote right now? Because everyone needs to hear and see your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Twitter and Instagram is just @DirectorRB3. And in terms of stuff to promote, I guess, check out our YouTube channel, First Cut. We have reviews, we have interviews, we have our podcast, The Meaning of Podcast, which you can also find on any podcast network or I guess streamer out there, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher. You can find The Meaning of Podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, and then you could subscribe to our YouTube channel for the video version of that podcast and a bunch of other stuff too. So
guys, go check it all out. I've got some URLs in the description section of this video for you too. Again, RB3. Thank you so much. Stay safe. The door to this channel is always wide open whenever you want to promote something. So come back and visit me here soon.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Bye, guys. Enjoy your